from Happy Hormones for Life. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn, and we are talking today about your pitch, getting a perfect pitch. Why do we want to do that? Well, we want to, once you're clear on your niche and your ideal client, which we've done some work on already, we need to create our perfect pitch. Sometimes it's called an elevator pitch, which is basically when you get into a lift with someone, you've got like a couple of minutes to tell them what you do and get over the benefits. That's where elevator comes from, but we're just calling it our perfect pitch. And this is for those moments when someone says to you, "Hi, what do you do?" And you're normally, I don't know about you, but sometimes in the beginning I was like, well, I'm a nutritional therapist and blah, 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 blah. And I can basically, all this stuff came out and it was all a bit fluffy and a bit woolly, and I didn't know what to say next. And then I'd end up sort of rambling a bit and they would just glass over. So the benefits of getting this pitch right is that really you're embedding confidence in what you do. You're engaging the listener, so they want to ask, they want to hear more. It's compelling. So it's something that you can just say very naturally and very confidently, and it comes out consistently the same every time, so that it's just automatic. So one of the things that I hear a lot, and I used to say myself, is I start with, I'm a nutritional therapist. And one of the things I noticed very quickly was that their eyes seemed to glaze over. The minute I said that, eyes would glaze, and it would sort of just be like I'd lost them in the first two words, right? The reason being that kind of nobody knows what a nutritional therapist is, and it just means nothing to them, and it immediately puts them on the defensive. They think that you're going to basically, tell them what to eat. They might think that you're some kind of diet freak, or you help people lose weight. And they might sort of nod and say, yeah, that's interesting, but they're not interested at all, and they won't be engaged, and they won't want to know more. They've already gone, right? And what I want you to convey is that we are so much more than that. Now, as NTs, we know that we're not just about nutrition. We do so much more than that. We change people's lives. And to get that across in what we say is really, really important. So you need to craft a pitch that shows your brilliance, shows your passion, that's perfect for the person that you're talking to. Hopefully that's your ideal client, or somebody that knows your ideal client, and that it's not boring and it sounds intriguing and the person wants to know more. And the way we do that is with a 3-step formula. The first thing we do is we say who we are, and then we say who we help, and then we say what the results are. So if you can stick to a 3-step formula, and it's very, very hard to do because we naturally want to tell the world everything that we're good at and all the people we help and all of that. But it's really, really important that you focus this on just 3 sentences. All right. If you do that and you make them as powerful as possible and you practice them to death, you are going to get so much more engagement and referrals, basically, because people will suddenly get who you help and what you're about. So the first step is who you are, right? So obviously you want to say your name. Now, this is where it can be a little bit controversial, because like I said, I don't like saying that we're nutritional therapists. You may disagree with that. Everyone has their own thing. But in my experience, it's the most common reaction to that is the glazing over and the boredom, right? So I long ago dropped the therapist bit and I just say I'm a nutritionist, and then I say my niche, right? So I say I'm Nikki, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a female health expert, right? That way you get the qualification in that you're a nutritionist, so that's the credibility, and then you get your niche in, which and then narrows it down to your ideal clients and who you work with most. And that also adds to your credibility because you're an expert in something, or you specialize in something. If you don't want to call yourself an expert, then obviously don't go there. You can say I'm a nutritionist and I specialize in, and then you get your niche in there. So now we've gone past the whole general diet thing, and suddenly we've got an area of health that you are specializing in, and that makes it much, much more interesting than just talking about nutrition, diets, weight loss, because that's basically what that's the perception, kind of what we do, right? So when we mention what we specialize in, what our niche is, suddenly it gets more engaging, more compelling. The next line is who you help, right? So now we want to get focused again on your avatar, the work you did on your ideal client and their pain, right? This is where we're going to get really a bit more targeted. So who you help. So you want to be as specific as possible here. When I say this, I say I help women over 40. That's my target market. And then I want to mention their pain. So who are struggling through perimenopause. That is all I need to say. Now you can go into specific, whatever your niche is, you can go into specific pains, like pain or fatigue or weight gain or gut problems or whatever it is your niche is. You want to focus on their main pain and say it in their language. So I can say perimenopause now because most people get that, and a lot of our inquiries are coming through saying I'm perimenopausal, help me, right? So they understand that language, whereas 10 years ago or 6 years ago when I started out, I didn't use the word perimenopause. I talked about fatigue, fat fatigue and hormone havoc. And then, you know, sometimes I do still mention that, but now I talk about perimenopause because people understand what that is. So it's language that people are using, right? So use the language that they would use to describe the pain that they're going through, the struggle. So I help women over 40 who are struggling through perimenopause. You might say something else, but I want you to, if you haven't got an age range, then try and get one. If you don't want to use an age range, then obviously you can niche in another aspect, but you want to get more and more niche as you go through this. So now you've identified the people that you help. So the listener is thinking, okay, she's a female health expert. She helps women over 40 going through perimenopause. Now, either that's her, you're talking to someone who's your ideal client, in which case they are all ears, right? Because they recognize who they are. Or they're saying, oh gosh, I know someone who's really struggling with that. I'm going to put this lady onto her, right? So that's what they're thinking. You want them to get into that frame of mind. So once you've said who you help, then you want to say where you get them to, okay? So I help women over 40 who are struggling through perimenopause to rebalance their hormones, reclaim their health, and feel better than ever. Okay, so now you've got a result of what you do, right? You don't have to say I use diet and lifestyle, nutritional, You don't have to say any of that because you've already said you're a nutritionist at the beginning. So that's kind of implicit in what you're saying. So you're just kind of wasting words and also losing them again because the how is not that important at this stage because you really just want to get the who and the what really, really tight and compelling. Okay, so what are the results? How do you get them feeling? Get some emotion in there. Try and find out, not just sort of, I help them lose weight, but what is it that they want to feel? Do they want to feel calm and balanced again? Do they want to improve their relationships or whatever? You don't need to get that detailed, but you want to tap into their feelings a little bit more than the actual kind of physical logistics, if you like. So once you have your 3-line pitch, don't make it any more than 3 lines. Otherwise, you're going to forget it. It's going to start to drift and ramble. And also, you don't want to overwhelm the listener because actually, you want to just say your 3 lines. And there's 2 things that are going to happen. One, they'll say, "Well, that's very interesting. Goodbye. I'm not very interested in that." Or 2, hopefully, "Well, that's really interesting. How do you do that?" And then it stimulates more conversation, further conversation. Or they might say, "Oh my goodness, I need that." And often when I'm talking to women, most people will have some kind of hormone issues. So they'll say, "Oh my God, I've been struggling with," or "I've got a friend who's really struggling with her menopause," or whatever. And the conversation will go on like that. Okay, so you really want it to be the start of your conversation. You don't need to blurt out how and every single which way that you do stuff or what nutritional therapy is because nobody cares. Okay, so you get that really succinct 3 lines. Now, once you have those 3 lines, practice, practice, practice. Now, what often happens is you'll write the 3 lines out and it looks good on paper, that when actually somebody asks you, when you actually say it to a live person, a human being, it might not feel right. There's something in there that jars or doesn't quite feel natural. So you just need to tweak it because you need to be, when you say it, it needs to be very natural. You need to be super confident and it needs to come out from your heart, from passion, right? So if there's a word in there that doesn't quite feel right, then change it. It needs to be consistent, so the same every time or very similar. and it needs to be automatic. So as soon as someone says to you, what do you do? Or someone asks you on an email, what do? You can literally write it out or say it, and it's the same every time, and it's literally automatic. It's coming from your subconscious because you've practiced it so much. That's where it needs to be. And again, you might need to adapt your pitch depending on who you're talking to. So if you're talking to someone in your target market, your ideal client, she looks like, or he looks like somebody that could do with your help, then, absolutely be personal to that person. Or if you're talking to somebody who's looking for a corporate workshop or a talk, you may just want to tweak it a little bit to be a bit more general rather than personal. But, use your judgment on that and maybe have a couple of options that you can adapt. And then once you have your pitch, you want to obviously be telling everybody what it is. So really get into those conversations, and also use it on all your social media platforms. So in the bios, in the about sections, put it in there, your 3 lines, if you can fit it in. If not, make a shortened version of it. But that's your consistent 3-line bio, about section, website, homepage, everything. All right, so make that consistent. And then it's easy then to remember and to put everywhere. So I really hope that's been helpful. A nice short one today. Go practice your pitch. Give me your pitch in the comments. I'm more than happy to have a look at them. And have an amazing week. Take care.